There, the streaming monitor says that we're streaming. Oh, yeah. How about that? Good afternoon, everybody. It's a happy Saturday. It's time once again for the Virtual Pipe Club meeting. And today we're playing some blues because today we got the blues man on the show, on the meeting, in the group. I never know what to call us. We're a bunch of guys and sometimes ladies hanging out and not really being inappropriate. This is a very well-behaved group here. In fact, here they are. Look at this well-behaved group. Say hello, well-behaved group there.
Hello.
Under mic, MC.
Yeah, Yuriki says, speak for yourself. Anyway, we are streaming over there on Facebook and YouTube, and I just want to welcome everybody who's joining us from over there. Apparently, today's meeting might be kind of popular over there, and I don't doubt that at all because our special guest today is Mike Glukler from Briar Blues. And he's a very popular person. He's a very cool person. I said today he's a very cool dude, even though he is Canadian. So we're very happy to have him here. We're going to talk about blues and briars and all that kind of stuff today. And we're going to talk about our upcoming next weekend, 1 week from today, our 1 year anniversary special Big Bang celebration. And I have some new pipes because you guys brought so many tickets to the raffle that we were able to buy even more pipes to give away. And a couple of other cool things as well as pipes. And in just a moment, I'm going to turn it over to my friend Oliver, who is apparently, if the news reports can be believed, the brains behind the Virtual Pipe Club, and have him do some housekeeping and find out what everybody's smoking and what they're smoking it in. And, one last thing is if you're watching this over there on Facebook and you haven't yet signed up for the Virtual Pipe Club Facebook group, I don't know what you're waiting for. And if you're watching us over there on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, I just have to say shame on you. That's all I'm saying. So that's all I'm going to say. Oliver, do your thing, man.
I'm in the right mood, and I'm the brain, and this is why I have no hair. See? Welcome, everybody.
It's more important what's inside your head, not what's on top of it.
That's my Dimitri. I love it. Can you say it again, please?
As I said, it's more important what's inside of your head, not what's on top of it.
I know. I heard it before. Perfect. Thank you. Peter Gitz is in the house, and it's pretty much in the house, and he can smoke. What you're smoking, you're on mute.
Well, hi, everybody. Thank you, Oliver. I've got I'm sitting in my smoking lodge, or the lodge, I call it, my man cave thing. I've got a Peterson St. Patrick's Day pipe from 2005 with some of my favorite early morning pipe.
Can you show it again because of the stem? What color has the stem? Is it a black one or what is it?
Black. It's just a boring one, black, kind of a tiger stripe stain, maybe. Stamped, with St. Patrick's Day stuff.
I like it better than the new one from this year.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a great smoker, very simple pipe. It doesn't have any fancy lips or any fancy systems, just a pipe. And it works great. So thank you for calling on me. I'm glad to see everybody. I'm curious how many prizes there are and how many tickets were sold, because I'm a math guy and I had calculated my probability of winning. And now I'm going to do it again.
And the result?
Well, it was with the prior parameters. It was about 22% chance of winning something.
Oh, okay. So So we have
That's high. That is a high. I'd enter the lottery every week. You know,
So
if I could have a 22% chance of winning something good. So
we have 21 pipes and 4 special lighters. So
okay, so
altogether
25.
25. Say it again, please.
I'm sorry, 25 prizes.
Yes.
And then how many tickets? I'm not mad or anything. I think it's great. I'm having fun with my combinatorics here.
I would say 185 or something.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Okay. I will have to run those numbers. It's computationally challenging. I can't do it in my head, so you got to have a.
Do we need to call in Jimmy the Greek here and calculate the odds?
You start looking at how many ways you can pull a ticket that isn't mine out of 185, and it's 10 to the 11th power, 10 to the 12th power, I'm guessing. Something. I mean,
Well, it's still over 10% chance. I would say somewhere about 12-13% chance of winning something.
Yeah. So great. I'll figure it out. It's a combinatorics problem to get an accurate, perfect estimate. So.
And just to be sure everybody knows, neither Oliver nor myself get any tickets.
Right.
So, especially Oliver.
It's a very generous setup. So thank you all and have a great meeting. I'll be right here.
Perfect. I want to like to make it a little bit more complicated. So how is the chance for the guys in the club? So we have also some guys out of the club. They bought some tickets.
I don't think that makes any difference.
I don't know.
It depends on how many tickets you sold, how many tickets the person possesses, and how many prizes there are. I think that's it.
That's the right answer. This was only a test. Perfect.
Yeah, okay.
You got it.
I'm glad I passed. I hate math tests.
Guys, I just want to give you an update on Club Tobacco.
Awesome.
Well, as Patrick and Pablo tried 4 different blends. Well, both of them and I agreed that 2 of those blends are the best. And I actually decided to go forward with one of them, which is Oriental Forward, like very Oriental Forward. So that was blend number 3. And yesterday I blended 2 new versions. So in about a week, I'm going to try those 3 blends, the original number 3 and 2 new ones with a slight variation. The only difference is ratio between 2 Virginia tobaccos. So, it's definitely going to be one of these 3 blends. So next week, I'll know for sure which one will be our club tobacco blend.
Sounds good. Very nice. So we have Andrew in the house, one of the mega stars of the YTPC, huh?
Hello, Oliver. How you doing?
Good. How are you, my man?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you.
Can I see your haircut, please?
My haircut. There is no hair.
Oh, got it.
Nothing there.
That's good. A lot of brain. So what you're smoking?
I'm happy to be here today. In honor of my good friend Mike, I am smoking my Castello earlier here. In it, I have some, of course, some Escudo from 2007. So, enjoying that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Boris, you make some maintenance on your pipes, I see. What you had today?
Exactly, maintenance time because I'm indoors as always. I had today my beloved Pateau McClelland. I know nobody of you guys know it because this was a Switzerland exclusive tobacco, but it's wonderful and unfortunately gone. And I had it in this Italian Jacobo. Beautiful
Very
pipe.
nice. Oh, yeah.
I saw the picture of that pipe you posted on Facebook. It's beautiful. And Ben Bulldog is my favorite shape.
Yeah, it's a really nice one.
Dennis, what about you? Cheers, by the way.
I think there are two Dennises in this group. Which one of us? Me?
You are the man. You are the man.
My wife would argue that point, but nonetheless, the what have I got here? Actually, this is this club's fault because I never knew what falcons were like until I joined this group and a couple guys started talking about falcon pipes. So as a result, I picked up this one and also found this nice meerschaum bowl from a guy in Turkey who sent it to me. And this is the second shot at it. And I got the Prati in here, which is what, supposedly a Virginia Perique blend with a little Cavendish. Now, what Russ calls Cavendish, who knows? But nonetheless, it's not doing too badly. So thank you, gentlemen, for introducing me to Falcon Pipes and, for that matter, Morta pipes, which I now have two, and they're smoking great. So thank you, everybody.
Perfect.
And I have to say, it's excellent tobacco. Actually, first time I tried it with Luigi Viprati. When he was in New York, I bought one of his pipes, and he shared some of his tobacco with me, and it is delicious.
Very nice. So, Jim, it looks very nice in your area. So what you are smoking?
Yes,
Yes,
this is, I'm in Central Florida here. Behind me here, it's been raining, but beautiful weather on a Lake Rosalie out here. This is I'm smoking some Esoterica Margate that I acquired from David last year. And this is a unique old-timey Ben Wade that I picked up about 6 months ago, did a little restoration on it, but it's a beautiful Danish-made Ben Wade. I just love the shape of this. And so that's what I'm smoking, and I'm enjoying this very much.
Perfect. Alvin, my Harley driver, what you are smoking?
I'm smoking some Father Dempsey, Kramer's Father Dempsey, and my recently acquired Radice, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Rind Volcanic Overflow Billiard. So,
Yeah, it's a beautiful pipe.
it is, and really this is like my fourth smoke in it, and it's just effortless.
Very good. Jürgen, what's up?
Hello, Oliver. I'm smoking my Nero pipe, and in it I have, for the first time, one of my vintage tobaccos that I posted on Facebook this week. I have rehydrated. It's a Freeborg and Briar Venice mixture. I have no idea about the blend. It should be a little bit of Virginia, Burley's, Kentucky, maybe. I had to research about that, but it's, I like it.
You have any projects about pasta pressing tobacco stuff in your mind right now, or?
I have a third round with Nashville County, and I will let it in the press for 2 weeks now.
Very cool. But what's going on? The man with the best beard ever.
I don't know about that, but it's about 63 degrees here in San Diego. I'm smoking a Burley Forward blend of my own and a recently acquired J. Mouton. We call it, in reference to Mike, a 55-ish. So, and so I kind of killed two birds with one stone. It's got the light's not really good, but this is black Cumberland. It's got a contrast rim, beautiful pipe. So, and I've been enjoying smoking, to say the least.
Very cool. How many time we have, David?
Well, let me just do a quick check of our group here. I'll make sure that our guest has been able to check in. Got to scan around and see where he's landed. I saw him peek in a minute ago. Mike, are you here?
I am here.
There you are.
Hi, Baron.
There we go. I see that. All right. Yes, we'll get started here. I thought maybe I would show you really quick my pipe that I'm smoking today. So I am smoking some of my new favorite blend, which is Amphora Virginia blend. Just so yummy. And this is my my favorite Peterson P-lip. Yes, I like the P-lip. And that's what I'm smoking today.
Very cool. So I'm smoking today some Baron vanilla cream in my 320 cocoa. It's very nice.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, looks like a coconut.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, we'll have some time later on to talk more about what we're smoking and do some conversations. For those of you who've been watching us, either in the future, sometime as a playback or whatever, we kind of stumbled into a bit of a format during the meetings, but I don't want to be stuck on any particular format, and I really am trying to move me out of the picture and the spotlight and more towards back to you guys and us having some conversations. I do want to be the guy who shares what some of the comments are over there on Facebook and YouTube. So just want to make sure I say a welcome to everybody. Stefan Skip is over there, P.A. Piper. And Andrew's in two places at once. He's bilocating. So he's over there on YouTube and over here in the Zoom room. And throughout the meeting today, if you have questions or comments or want to share something or want to, send a personal message to Mike, just throw it in the comments and I'll see if I can wedge it in there. So today, in our ongoing series of famous and infamous figures from the pipe world, we have somebody very special, very cool. I was kidding around with him, but he really is a very wonderful, very knowledgeable, and very well liked guy from the YTPC, Mike Glukler from Briar Blues, and it's my very great pleasure to welcome Mike. And so I am going to put Mike on the spotlight here. Kaboom. And and there we go. So everybody say hello to Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Hi,
Hello,
Mike.
Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hey,
Hey,
Mike.
Baron.
Hello, Mike.
Mike.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, David, and Virtual Pipe Club for inviting me in.
And you already have a bunch of people over there on YouTube saying, hello, Mike.
Yeah, you know how many $20 bills I have to send out to do that?
How do you think I get people to show up for the meetings myself? I tell you what.
There's a fee for this, I get?
Yeah, we'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, if you run out of $20 bills, I'll accept 50.
You take Canadian at par.
I will take Canadian, yes, because it's cheaper that way for me.
Polar pesos.
Hey,
What-
David, tell him to text in the mail.
Mike, I want to kick things off and ask you a question today, and that is the blues. So you might be able to hear, I don't know if you can hear it right there. We've got I made a special playlist just for you, my friend. Tell me, are you a blues man?
As funny as that sounds, being from Canada, middle class, yeah. The first time I picked up a guitar and started taking lessons, 12-bar shuffle, that was it.
So are you? So do you just play the guitar for fun, or were you in a band? Do you have a blues band up there in Vancouver?
The blues scene in Vancouver is slim to none. There used to be one venue that had an open blues thing going on Sundays where any musician can come in and jam. But other than that, there's no blues really happening. Country, western, rock, rap, crap, whatever you want to call, whatever. Everything except the blues.
So, who's your favorite blues artist then?
Wow. Well, I have an iPod in my car, and it currently has 39 and a half days worth of blues music, and no two songs will play twice in those 39 and a half days. So putting it down to favorite would be like saying, who's your favorite child? Most influential would be Albert King.
And
Chicago Blues.
I'm just, what I'm doing here is I was trying to put everybody on mute. So, fellas, if I put you on mute, please don't take it personally. I'm not trying to cut you out of the conversation or anything like that, but sometimes the ambient noise steals the picture away or whatever like that. But as I always say, just to remind you, anytime you have a question for Mike or a conversation, you want to make a comment or whatever, you can just throw your mic back on. So, don't be shy about that. So when you, so Mike, when you named your business, how did those come? Was it just the alliteration, Briar Blues, or was it like there was a thought behind it?
My two biggest passions, the blues and Briar. And it just sort of made sense and worked out to being BB, which BB King is another great blues man, so it just worked.
That totally makes sense. So do you have a guitar with you?
There's a Squire Telly hollow body thin in the back, vintage, and my 120th anniversary Les Paul in the corner.
So last week, we did something we've never done before, which was we had Keith play some little riffs for us. He's shaking his head. He's like, it's not going to happen.
I'll explain. Many years ago, I used to play 4 and 5 hours a day. I would go home from work, straight into the garage, the amp would go on and I would play. Dinner time, I would eat, go back into the garage and play. 11 years ago, I had 2 heart attacks. I flatlined twice, brain dead twice, brought back. After that, there was a disconnect between brain and fingers. The brain knows what it wants to do, and the fingers are saying, no, I don't think we want to do that this time.
Oh.
And I started getting more and more into it, playing more slide, because finger picking isn't working real good. And December 23rd, I was shoveling my walkway and my driveway, which is 8 cars. You could park 8 cars on it, 4 length, 45-degree angle. Took a good slip straight up in the air, landed on a shoulder, dislocated my right shoulder. And since then, playing has been very difficult because I can't hold my arm comfortably and strum or pick or anything. So those 2 have been sitting there well out of tune for 9 weeks. And without a bass and a drummer, I don't play solo.
Well, we have a drummer here, so we're 2/3 of the way there. I'll tell you what, my friend. Between now and the next time you come on, you can get with me. I do that whole the Tai Chi thing, and we'll rehabilitate your shoulder.
I was going to ask you about your Tai Chi.
Do
you do it for health, spirituality, or martial arts, or all 3?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry? Oh, wow. My Cantonese, Ngom Gaedak Gong. But my Mandarin is a little bit equally bad.
My girlfriend tells me I speak Chinglish because I mix the 3 of them.
For those of you who are like shaking their heads going, I don't know what these guys are. So both Vancouver and where I went to school in San Francisco are like, the biggest Chinatowns outside of China. And so apparently Mike's picked up a bit of Cantonese there. That's awesome.
Well, there's a saying in Vancouver.
Vancouver has the highest percentage of Chinese population outside of China.
Yes. Yeah, there's a saying
And
here.
New York City has overall largest Chinese population outside of China. We have 3 big Chinatowns in New York City.
There's a saying here, "Ne wen jing qin sik gong tong hua." And an uncle of mine, Chinese uncle, taught me that, and it translates to, you want to make money, speak Chinese. I took that to heart.
So for those of you who may have heard this before, we just passed Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year actually is sort of officially still tailing off there with Spring Festival. But if you go downtown, Chinatown, wherever you are, you'll hear people say "Gong Hei Fa Cui" or "Gong Xi Fa Cai," depending on what dialect they speak, which roughly translates to less work, more money.
And then if you're smart, you'll say "Lacy Dao Loi," which means give me a red package.
That's right. That's right. All right. So before we jump into Briar Blues and so your pipe story, I have another question for you, and that is, how many watches do you own?
Right now, 4, 6, 7, 9.
And is that a decrease in the peak of your collection?
Yes.
So, Mike, in addition to having a massive pipe collection, is also a watch collector. Tell us about that.
My pipe collection is less than you would think. Max is out at 24 pipes. That was a rule I made when I started the company. I either wanted a house and a small pipe collection or a huge pipe collection and live out of my car. I like a roof. And my watches, for some reason, I've always liked manual or automatic watches. I like the thought of something that is useful, that is made by human hands, that is so intricate. And so all the workings inside a watch just fascinate me.
Well, when did you start your watch collection, and is there? So I know you have at least one Rolex. What models of watches do you collect?
I have 2 Orises. I have the Rolex, Oyster Perpetual, an HMT. I have 3 Hamiltons, including the one I'm wearing, which is my birth year. I have to think what else. Tissot. Yeah, I think that's it.
Are they still making Hamiltons?
Hamilton's still going strong, and they're great Swiss watches.
So if I remember correctly, Hamilton is what JFK used to wear.
Correct.
So let's dive into the pipes then.
Sure. And remember, I said, sometimes I might plead the 5th.
I'll try not to ask questions that you need to plead the 5th about, but
Okay.
you never know. I could just take off, and we might get questions from the YouTube group or from the Zoom room here, and then you'll have to deal with them on your own there. So tell us about your pipe story from like the time that you first started smoking a pipe and how all that came about.
All right. I was 14 years old, started smoking cigarettes. My parents, being of strong European descent, nixed the cancer sticks, and they went and bought me a pipe. It was a yellow bowl, pear, purple and black, and a bowl or a pouch of Borkum Riff. I had no idea what to do. none of the people in my family were pipe smokers. So I filled the pipe, lit it up, smoked it, burnt my mouth, felt ill, emptied the bowl out, and the little yellow liner fell out with it. I don't know if that yellow liner was supposed to be removed before I filled the pipe or not. I just filled it and lit it. And that was my first pipe. And a few years after that, being very much into James Bond and remembering that he had tailor-made cigarettes, I thought, well, that's a cool idea. I'll go get custom-made cigarettes or custom blended. Looked in the yellow pages because long before the internet, found a shop in Vancouver and custom tobaccos. And it was a pipe shop. And they sold me my first pipe, which was also a bent pear, stamped Danish Sport, made in Italy. And I bought 2 ounces of a blend called Domino, which was a steamed black Cavendish. Very mild, great blend for beginners. And I've never looked back. It just, like the 12-bar shuffle, it just felt right.
Was it a love? Because eventually it became a business. So how did that grow from a 14-year-old with a pouch of Bork and Riff into somebody who, had more interest in that?
Okay. There used to be a chain of pipe stores in Canada called Knutsen's Pipe Dream. And they're unlike any pipe store that I've ever been in. Each store had a blending bar and stools. And customers could come in, sit, get custom blended tobaccos, or they could just sit and while away the hours, smoking, trying the tobaccos. I started hanging out in one of the stores. Eventually, ended up working at one of them. And it just grew from there. That firm went out of business. The last shop was bought and changed to a store called the Pipe Den. The owner there, interesting young fellow who had a hard time paying the provincial tax on tobacco, and for 2 years did not. And they finally kept sending him letters saying, we're going to come audit you. And they sent him a final notice saying, we will be there on X date to audit your books. Well, the day before, he had a massive sale. And when they came to audit his books, the only thing that was left in the store was the bar. All the fixtures, every pipe, tobacco, everything was gone. And he declared Chapter 11, bankruptcy. And now there's only sort of one pipe shop left in the whole city. And you can't smoke indoors here, so.
And how long ago would you say that was? What year?
1991.
And so then, not too long after that, 1995, if I'm
96.
96, you started Briar Blues.
Correct.
I want to hear all about that, but before we jumped into that, let me pause for a second and turn it over to the guys in the Zoom room here to see if you guys got some questions for Mike. Remember, he claims he can plead the fifth, but maybe if you ask the question in the right way, you'll get around that. So. And the way that works, by the way, guys, just jump in and turn your mic on and start asking.
Mike, it's interesting how you mentioned Albert King, as he seemed to be a wellspring of everybody copying his style, from Eric and Stevie and on and on. So many guys who even didn't make it big talk about it. So was that kind of the style that you played when you were playing?
Yeah, to the point where jamming with a bunch of guys one night, one of the guitar players looked at me and said, "Don't you play anything other than Albert King licks?" And it just felt right. The way he would bend, like 2 steps, bring it back and bring it right back up again and back and forth. Yeah, it just felt right. That searing guitar, pulling it at your soul. Albert could get one more emotion out of one note than some of the guitar players get out of 100. And that's the part of the blues that gets me, is that intense searing pull at your heart. And you know exactly what the player is feeling just from that one note or that 2 or 3 note combination. You get the happiness, you get the tears, you get the fear. Yeah.
Buddy Guy was always my favorite blues guitar player.
I like Buddy, but more when he was playing with Junior Wells. The tone that he got out of that Guild Starfire compared to what he gets out of his Stratocaster is night and day. His playing is great, but the tone it's almost thin, whereas when he was playing with Junior Wells, it was thick and meaty and yeah, just different. But then playing with a harp player as opposed to being a front man, you're more blending in, whereas a front man, you've got to make an impact. And so the tone on the Strat works better for him now.
Yeah, I think, with a little bit more practice and study, you might be a pretty good musician there, Mike. Like, good Lord, you know a lot about the blues, brother.
Well, Kenny G said it best. He was interviewed one day and somebody asked him what he attributes his overnight success to. And he said 50,000 hours of practice.
Awesome. We have a question over here from the YouTube group. Actually, Steph of Steph and Skip fame.
My little sister.
Yes. She wants to know if you ever imagined that you'd be so influential in the international pipe community.
I don't think I'm influential. I think I'm just an old man with a big mouth and a camera.
Super. I think that's all you need to be, but you are influential. We've talked about this a bit before, haven't we, guys? And ladies, I see Silver's in the house, and Stefan is over on the YouTube group. That the influence, I think, in the pipe community has come from the quality of the character of the people that show up in it. And one of the things that I think stands out as I watch your streams and your videos is what a big heart you have, and that's all it takes to be an influence, and you certainly are. But enough buttering up, because I'm trying to get out of spending that $20 apparently. So let me turn it back over to the Zoom room crew again. If you got some questions for Mike here before we go on a bit.
I'd just like to say that it's all Mike's fault that I'm now addicted to Castello and DJ pipes. So thanks for that, Mike. I appreciate it.
Welcome to the dark side.
That was going to be my other question. You like more guitars or Castellos or watches?
If I was on a desert island, it would have to be my pipes. It would have to be the Castellos.
And
do you have any favorite tobacco that you will take to that island?
Escudo.
Yeah, my top 5 blends, Escudo. And just so Andrew knows, I'm smoking also a tin of 2007.
What are the other 4?
Escudo.
Escudo.
Escudo, Escudo, and Escudo.
That's why David's going to be your best pal, because he's a vapor guy also, all the way down. All right, let's chat a little bit about Briar Blues. And another question that came over from the YouTube group was, I think, is a good place to start off with. Could you talk a little bit about your business philosophy?
Ooh, without throwing a bunch of people under the bus, I should probably plead the fifth, but I'll try and do this as diplomatically as possible. Okay. The normal rule of estate pipe dealing is like this. If a pipe costs retail X, on the estate market, it sells for half. The dealer will give you half of that. So, a $400 pipe retail, the dealer will sell for 200, you'll get 100. And it always rubbed me the wrong way that I'm going to take a $300 hit on a $400 pipe. So my philosophy there was to put more money back in the collector's pocket, because the more money they have, the more they're going to spend. So on my estates, I work on a 70-30 split. So the collector gets 70% of whatever the pipe sells for. And it doesn't sound like a big difference, but over the long term, as long as I'm putting more money in my customer's pocket than mine, I'm happy. And the other thing, I do have another income and another business, and Briar Blues was never meant to be a pocket-filling business. If it makes a little, great. If it breaks even, I'm good with that. And if it loses, well, so be it. So it was all about putting more money back into the collector's pocket than my own.
I think that 70-30 split makes huge difference. Basically, if collector buys 3 pipes, he gets enough money for 1 extra pipe.
Absolutely. And the more money that collectors have, the more they will spend, which is good for everybody. Doesn't matter if it's with me or any other estate dealer. I mean, there's a lot of competition, and to me, that's really good. The more, the merrier. It's much better for the collector than it is for our end of the business, so to speak.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, as an artisan carver, what is your take on any royalties or any portion of a artisan pipe sale? The carver sells it once and it can get sold over and over again. Do you have an opinion on any funds going back to the artisan carver?
Not on the resale, but you're not going to be happy when I tell you this, Silver. Normal rule of thumb, artisan sells to a retailer for wholesale, which is half price. I don't work with any artisan on that level. With any artisan I work with, it's an 80 or either an 80 or 75% split, 75 or 80 going to the artisan. I don't buy pipes direct from artisans because of a bad thing that happened a long time ago that almost put Briar Blues out of business. So now with artisans, I only deal on consignment. I never ask for more than 3 or 4 pipes. When they sell, the artisan gets the money right away. If the customer sends the pipe back, then it becomes mine. I have to sell it again. So if I was to buy or work with you, you would send me 2 or 3 pipes. I would sell them. If a customer sent one back to me unsmoked, you've already been paid. That pipe then becomes mine, and I've paid the 75 or 80%. I don't deal like the big guys. It always rubbed me the wrong way that I should make as much money as a person that threw away 1 out of 3 blocks to make, 2 pipes, that spent 8 hours carving a pipe, hand cutting a stem, doing all the work. And what does it take me to put a pipe on my website? 6 pictures in 15 minutes, and it's on the site. I've got a dozen radices that'll arrive Monday. And by Wednesday, they will be completely on the site, priced, all pictures done, everything. And the only reason it's going to take till Wednesday is because I'm not home Mondays and Tuesdays. So that end of it, I feel for the artisans, because you know as well as I do that every one of you pipe makers drives around in a Bentley and has a private jet, right? Yeah, exactly. I know very few pipe makers that do better than eke out a living. And that rubs me the wrong way for any artist to have to eke out a living. They should be, paid isn't the right word, but they should be compensated far better than they are. And like I say, I know that there's some big guys out there that they're going to hear this and they're going to be looking for me, draw quarter, tar, feather, poison, and then they'll get serious with me. But that's just the way I operate.
Thank you. I appreciate your input.
Silver, would you mind drilling down a little bit, another layer on this? I'm an artist in a different medium, and I get royalties off of the stuff that I create, and that's not like what artisan pipe carvers get. And I'm curious to find a little bit more about your thought behind that.
I've never dealt in any art other than pipes, so I have no idea. For that, I would suggest you get Rick Newcomb on from Syndicators, who would probably be really well versed in discussing that with you. It's just not I have no idea.
Silver, what's your take on it?
Well, I always have felt from the very beginning that as a artisan carver, the 50% sale to a wholesaler wasn't very fair, but they do a good job of advertising the products and getting the names out there, and I'm grateful for that. But the resale part, if a pipe comes back up as a estate, then the carver completely misses out on any royalties, so to speak, or any residual monies from that. And I just wondered what the general feeling was from someone like Briar Blues, who deals with that, but apparently he gives a better sales price to commission to the carver itself. So it's just an ongoing question, and I just feel the artisan gets kind of left out after the first sale.
Yeah, it would be really difficult as a reseller to send the money out to each artisan for every secondary pipe that came in. And how would you deal with the artisans that are no longer with us? I mean,
that's a good
I've sold
point.
bowls, I've sold Lars, I've sold Sixtons. Does it go to their estate? What about carvers that are no longer even carving? It would be very difficult. As a carver that's current, I can see it, but then what happens if it becomes a third or a fourth sale? So say I was to get silver gray pipe in, sell it, and then the person who buys it from me sends it to somebody else, they sell it, and down the road, how often do you follow it through,
Yeah, that's a good point.
It would be, I guess the only way is if every carver stamped a registration number so that a pipe could be tracked. And the only carver I know doing that is Levon Irk.
I know Pipe Hub at one point did a state kickback. I think it was like 5% of the sale to the carver. So I was just wanting input if it was just that one retailer or if others did it. But it sounds like your compensation is more than fair.
Yeah, the Pipe Hub was doing that with new pipes. And yeah, it was a totally different system. And as you can see from their website,
Well, they did that with estates too. If an estate.
Oh, you
came
did?
up-
Okay.
Oh, yeah, then it would, the carver would get 5% back.
Okay.
But,
Oh, God. You've got a troublemaker sitting on your right. You know that.
I know. Silver is a troublemaker, and that's why we love her. That's
No,
why.
it's
That's why
the
she's.
fellow on her right that's the troublemaker.
Oh, is that? Oh, I see.
Brad.
Well, I think you're the one who created the monster, and so just for those of you who are maybe not looking at the screen the way that we are, Simon's in the house right now, and Mike, I know that you recently paid Simon a big compliment about how well his pipes draw about this. But before we get into Simon, by the way, Simon, it's good to see you, my friend. Let's go back to talk about how Briar Blues began. So did you begin with only estates, or did you begin with a mixture of estates and new? How did that start?
It actually sort of fell into my lap. A friend of mine who lives 3 hours away had a huge collection of pipes. He had a room in his house bigger than my office dedicated to pipes. And he had a room in the back of that dedicated to his tobaccos, like a wine cellar, but it was just full of tobaccos, hundreds and hundreds of pounds. And he decided to cull his collection, but didn't want to deal with eBay or any of the other things. So he asked me if I would try selling some of the pipes for him. So with an old Mavica camera, where you had to put in the floppy disk to take pictures, I started taking pictures of his pipes after I'd cleaned them. And he would set the prices, which worked for me in most cases. And from that, it sort of slowly grew by word of mouth. Other people heard about it and started asking me if I would sell pipes. And it came to the point where it wouldn't work on eBay because it was too many at that time with a Mavica floppy disk camera. I would have a stack of discs with all these pictures I'd taken and then have to edit them off a floppy disk. So we set up a website and it just grew from there.
Did you have at some point a plan for how you wanted to?
All I knew starting was to put more money back in Bob's pocket than in mine, because I was doing it more as a favor and to cover my costs. And I didn't start with any new pipes. Everything was things that people sent me. So anything that was unsmoked would have been from someone's collection. And then I did a few pipe shows, met a few carvers, built a few relationships, and started selling new pipes.
When did you start going to the pipe shows? What year was that?
First pipe show was Los Angeles, 1995.
Oh, so that was actually even before Briar Blues officially kicked off.
Absolutely.
So you went as what, a pipe lover? Just
I went as a collector. There was no Castello pipes available in Canada at that time. And I really wanted to get a or some Castello pipes. So I took 22 estate pipes of my own, pre-smoked pipes, and met Nikos Levin of NML Direct, traded 22 pipes in to get 6 Castellos. Then I was hooked. And from there, I met Bob Hamlin and Marty Pulvers, who really became my mentors. And that they taught me the ropes and got me going.
I am. I'm like the disc jockey who can hear somebody's radio in the background, so I'm trying to find it so I can put a mute on it.
Right.
Well, let me pause for a minute now and throw it back to my guys in the Zoom room here for questions or stories with Mike. And we're going to take a quick little interlude here in the middle to show some of the new pipes and the lighters we've got for the raffle. I'm going to come back and see if Mike will regale us with some tales that never before published about the people that he knows in the pipe world. See if we can get him to do that. So, guys, thoughts, questions?
All right, first, if I can say hello, if
Yes.
you allow me to speak now, David. Okay, first of all, Mike is very humble. When Mike says that he's not that influential in the pipe market, Mike's been in the pipe market for a good few decades now. I look back, I'm an avid reader of old literature related to the pipe and Tobacconiana, and he's in there. He's in all the magazines. He's got adverts going back 20 years or something like that. And so he's been in this for a long time. But I think he's been involved in the development of various different pipe makers, and I'm certainly one of them. So I certainly want to, when he says he's not influential, he's certainly been a big influence in my journey so far. I'm a relatively new pipe maker, but he's always been there to steer me in the right direction. Well, I assume it's the right direction. It's certainly going in the right way, seems to be. So when he says he's not influential, I can tell you that he's being humble, and he is certainly very influential in the pipe industry, certainly based from my experience. And just a quick comment on what Silver was saying about royalties to pipes. I think that would be a wonderful thing, but somehow I don't see any other product out in the market which enjoys that kind of reward for the maker. I mean, if you go and buy a stereo in the shop, Sony doesn't expect to get a cut every time it gets resold. You know, it's just unrealistic. As much as I would love to have a bit of a cut every time one of my pipes gets sold or resold, it just doesn't seem to be. It seems to be a bit of a pipe dream. There you go.
And it would be.
Simon has waited his entire life to use that line right there. So well done, sir.
No, the other thing, if it would be fine for a dealer to be able to track, but how would the artisan be able to collect from all the individuals that sell on eBay? They wouldn't. So some would have a royalty and some wouldn't. Like I said, unless they were registered and they, eBay came in and said, all right, on every artisan pipe, a royalty must be paid of whatever percent that gets held back and eBay doles it out. But other than that, there'd be no way of doing it. And then you'd have to do the same with Etsy and yeah.
I mean, other than the music industry or the entertainment industry, which I'm not quite sure why they are entitled to those royalties, but there's a copyright thing, but there's nothing else that you buy in the world that you have to keep paying for, or that the maker keeps getting royalties.
Well, books, authors do, but those kinds of products that have those kinds of royalties, and I'm just saying that because that's part of how I make my living. First of all, the artists themselves spent a long time going back to, the movie company United Artists. Remember them? Douglas Fairbanks and Charlie Chaplin and all those guys. So they struggled to create a way to get paid for their creative works after they had created them. And it was a big fight for a long time. And also those products get sold in copies thousands of times. And so you're getting paid a fraction of a percent on each one of those copies. And that's what makes it difficult for something like a single piece of wonderful artistry, like a pipe or a painting or a sculpture, because there's just one. It's just one. So I don't know. I have no idea how it would work, but I like the idea of it.
The
other thing is because they use it many, many times and they make many, many copies versus one pipe. You sell one pipe, you use it one time. Like books at the school. When you were in college, you buy it, you use it, you sell it. Or like a house. If I sell my house now, I'm not going to give any money to the fifth person who bought this house 70 years ago. Like what you said before, probably it's because they're not alive. But I don't want to bring any criticism to Artisan and of course not to Silver. But what I've seen some places in Chicago, and it happened before in Madrid with so many Italian artisans, like Le Nouveau, just to name one. I've seen his pipes at 140 euros. Out of the blue, the next year they are 700. Really? You improve so much in 1 year that you are a master now in 1 year to improve like a 400% in the same kind of pipes. And when I've been in Chicago a couple of times, I've seen same, something that it was 200 this year, out of the blue is 800. I'm thinking they're taking advantage of that as well. Or I understand the machines that they use and they put the money on there like a business should be paid some way. But at 400%, are we the customers paying for their tools? Because I've seen people like artisans that I know that they may pay about $75 between the piece of wood, the stem, and so on. And of course, their hours of work. $700 for something that costs you, let's say 75 to 100 plus maybe $200 in time. I'm just
Yeah, but that's the world we're in. That's the capitalist society that we're in. You don't pay always for value, although there is value in as a pipe maker gets better. But if you buy a Rolls Royce or you buy a regular car, you're paying for brand. You are paying for quality as well, but you're paying for, it's a style thing. You know, it's a lifestyle. If you're in that bracket, you want to spend $1,000, it's a buyer's market. You know, at the end of the day, if the price of that pipe is too high, nobody's going to buy it. You know?
One of the advantages that we
The thing,
have,
Simon, is that you don't know how to make a BMW today, and in 1 year you know how to make Rolls Royce. Really?
Well, then nobody buys your pipe then.
From one to the other.
Then the reputation isn't there, then nobody's going to buy it.
so
If
one of the
people buy
things
it-
that we have that is a good advantage for supporting artists is the community that we're in right now. Like this is, eventually, because of the way that other businesses have also gone through this kind of evolutionary stage, that they won't be able to sell their pipes for quite as much because there's just so many pipe makers and there's just such a wide variety. But the community is now the deciding factor. So you guys out there who are buying pipes, and you get to know the artist personally, like Silver, like Simon, or you know the people that you really, people who made Castello pipes, you know, and then you buy those because of a loyalty and a affection for those pipes, and that's actually quite a powerful market force. Is that affection?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going to take a quick
One
break.
last example.
Oh no, David, go ahead, and then I'll take a quick break.
One last example. Like, I don't know if you know one of the, Rubio from Spain. Probably most of you know him as an artisan. I've seen his pipes in Columbus, about 90 to $100, 110, and they were really good in his first year. And I really like his style. I met with him too, and actually him and other Spaniard, they went to Chicago. They put the first day on the Saturday morning, their pipes, let's say 150. Somebody told them, your pipes are good. They are so cheap. The next morning on Sunday, their pipes were valued over $100. I mean, $300, really.
Can't blame a guy for trying.
Well, you use a good example, Rubio. It so happens that his pipes are stunning. And they are worth $300 in anybody's money, and I think they're worth more than that personally. But I mean, I don't have one myself, but I think his pipes are definitely high-grade pipes.
And I don't disagree, Simon.
But he's just starting. When he was just starting to come to Chicago,
No,
he's
my
testing
point-
the water.
my
He doesn't
point,
know the
Simon-
pricing. You're right. His value doesn't increase from one day to the next. I agree.
That's what I'm saying. That was my
I
point.
understand.
How do they
But
go
he
from
was
100 to 300 in the same year convention?
Because when somebody's starting out, when I sold my first pipe, I sold my first pipe. I don't remember the amount it was, but whatever it was, it was. You have to test the water to find your mark. You know, my pipes sell between 150 and 200 pounds on average. Some less, some more. But if I put out a pipe for 500 pounds, I know it's not going to sell, even if though I think it might be worth it. But I know it's not going to sell because I haven't got that reputation yet. I'm still early on. And you got to test the water. You got to find your mark. If I put out a pipe for 40 pounds, it's going to sell like hotcakes and I'm not going to make much money. So I realized that I can, and that's what Rubio did at that stage. If he was selling his pipes at 100 pounds and people were telling him that's much too low, he's entitled to earn what they're worth. And they don't change their value, their intrinsic value, but they change their market value. Once he knows what the market is, the market value changes. And he's we're in this although there's a big passion side of making pipes and communal side of making pipes, but ultimately, of course, you want to get good value for your work. You don't want to rip people off, but you want to get good value. You want your work to have a certain value. And there's no point selling something for £100 if it could sell fairly. I'm not saying unfairly. If it can sell fairly at £300. And if the market will tell you straight away, if you're putting your pipes out at £300 and they're not worth it, people won't buy them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And I agree with you on the market value because the cost of living in the United States is much higher than so many countries in Europe. So yes, perhaps in England, your pipes are 200. You come here and because the American market value is higher, they are from one day to the next $500. And another thing that happened also is like the Chinese and Russian market came, and I've seen in Chicago, like mafia dealers open like boxes with 5 pipes, $25,000, really? And now all their pipes are that much because the Chinese people afford those.
Okay, there's a few things I'm going to say here.
Yeah.
First of all, the most difficult task for every pipe carver, for every artisan carver, is pricing. Because it's trying to assess where you fit in the market, the quality of your work compared to everyone else. And comparing one carver to another is like apples and oranges. It's you can't do it. You might like the style over this carver, but you don't know the speed, the source of briar, the amount of handwork, etc., that goes into carver A or carver B. And most pipe carvers are not business people. They're artists, and they're learning what the value of their goods are all through the process of becoming full-time pipe carvers for those lucky enough to get to that level. The other thing, if you look at any carver that has gone artisan, you've got to look in their history. Because a lot of those carvers, mainly the Italians that have their own brand now, have been carving pipes for 15, 20 years prior, working in the factory setting, like Maurizio Tombari, who worked at Mastro de Paia, Sir Jacopo, before going on his own, the Ronaldo brothers, etc. And there's a whole slew of them that all worked at other factories first. The last thing I'm going to say on this, and this is going to get me in trouble, you don't have to spend more than $300 to get a great smoking pipe. At about the $300 level, anything beyond that, you're paying for the quality of the artisan's work, artistry, and design, fit and finish.
I don't think that's going to get you into trouble. And if it does, I'll come and hang out with you, and we'll weather it together.
Sounds good.
It's all 100% true, though. Everything he said is 100% true. So.
All right, I'm going to show some pipes here, just to have a little intermission. I've got my white gloves on here because these are pipes that we're going to give away as part of the raffle. And Mike, I thought, I mean, these are factory pipes. These are all, so that nothing really fancy here. But I'd love it if you would make a commentary on what we've got. Would you do that for us?
I will try.
All right. So here is the first one I'm going to pull out. Obviously, this is a Chacombe. And let's see what we... And Mike, please feel free to talk about your sense of the style of the pipe, the quality, what you think of the grain.
Get into another can of worms here.
That's okay. Open it up.
Butchocan and Chacombe, French-made pipes, huge, long history, much maligned in the collector community. And I blame 100% the North American distributors. What we get is the mid-range and low range from these brands. Their upper tier grades are offering pipes of superior grain to even Castello, even compared to Artisans. Their top end stuff is amazing, and we just don't get to see it. Chacombe makes great pipes for the money. great pipes for the money. That's that billiard, classic. We call it the English style, but no, they're all French designs. Classic billiard.
Well, here's another one. And I don't know what these are until I pull them out here. So here's another Chacombe that we got. And I only take 50% of the blame on this. So Oliver was helping me with the selection process. I should have asked Mike, shouldn't I? Should have had Mike help us with these. So here's another Chacombe.
Already blaming other people, David.
I know, I'm trying, right?
There again, classic bent billiard. It's got decent flame grain on it. You know, unfinished chamber. I mean, that's going to be a great smoking pipe. They don't use new briar. They use well-aged briar. And the collector market just, for some reason, looks over the French pipes. It's a huge mistake.
It's a really beautiful grain on that pipe. And it's an extra large bowl in there. So that's going to be an all-day smoke for sure. What do we got here? Here is a Savinelli. And we didn't have one of these in the group that we were giving away, so we figure we absolutely needed to pull this out here.
Yeah, Savinelli. I mean, how many companies have the lineage of Savinelli? What is it, almost 200 years or 150 years? Factory-made pipes, consistent. Nothing wrong with Savinelli. They're great pipes for the money. Another classic billiard. Look at the brass.
Yeah.
Lucite stem. Smooth rim. Probably drilled for a 6 mil filter. It's great.
And then one more pipe that I want to bring out here. I want to put these away as I go because we're trying to keep them very nice for everybody.
Another brand way under the collector radar. If my memory is correct, at one time Brebbia and Savinelli were housed in the same facility. They were partners. And then for some reason they split off. So Brebbia goes back as far as Savinelli in its history. Again, another brand that we don't see their best grained pipes. In Europe you will, but in North America we don't. They're exceptionally well made, good aged Italian briar. Brebbias are fantastic pipes.
This Umpal was one of the more unusual shapes that we have in the collection that we're giving away. So when I saw this one, I thought we really need to add this in. This is one of the more top tier. All the pipes that we got here were $100 and over. And so for your $20 ticket, that's what you have the chance to win. And if you want to find out what your chances are, ask Peter. Finally, we have something other than pipes to give away. Oh, this is so nicely packaged. Oh my goodness. And that is...
Looks like an old boy.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, those are terrible lighters. I think you should just send that to me to use it. Go right along with this one. Another exceptional quality product. Customer service from I Am Corona is excellent.
And we have two different finishes on this. We only have 4 of these that are going out. So if you draw the lucky ticket that's not a pipe, you'll get one of these. This is my favorite. This is the one that I would have bought a ticket for in the black.
Yeah, with the tamper built into the bottom, that is the only thing you need when you travel for a lighter.
That's beautiful.
David, you have the Castello on hand? I would hear what Mike have to say about that.
I do. Let me go run and get it. It's on the in the other box there across the desk. Let me open it up to some questions. Mike made some very interesting points about some of these factory pipes there, and so let me throw it back to you guys. And Oliver, you're going to be my moderator for that. How about that?
Hey, hey Mike,
So
if I could ask a question, I'm curious. So I'm currently smoking now my Briar Blues Pipe of the Year from last year, the Radice, and I'm curious, maybe you could talk about the upcoming pipes you have coming in for your anniversary. What we can look forward to.
Those are terrible pipes, Andrew. I hate them. Actually, I got the email from Marzio this afternoon. The shape has been decided. It is a Lavat with a silver band.
Awesome.
We have one thing we're trying to work out. If you saw the Radice 40th anniversary pipes, they came with a leather case. We are trying to find out if that manufacturer will make cases for the Briar Blues Pipe of the Year. If they will, then I will order 25 pipes and 25 cases. If the leather maker will not, I will order 50 pipes from Radice in 2 25 pipe batches. But it's a classic straight Lavat with a slight Radice Italian twist to it. It's, as soon as I saw it, I knew it was the right shape.
Sounds awesome, Mike. I assume some will be 9 mil, right?
I haven't decided. Depends.
Well,
how
if you
much.
know what's good for you, Mike, there will be some.
I've asked for smaller pipes. So like
Right.
50 grams and under. So from the picture, I couldn't tell the shank size. I will be asking for some 9 mil filter pipes.
The one I bought from you recently was quite a narrow shank, and that was 9 mil. You know that billiard?
Yes.
So yeah. Oh well, that's awesome. A classic Lavat, bit of silver. Can't go wrong. I'll be emailing you very shortly.
Yes. The original plan was to do 2 shapes and to do a 2-pipe set. So one slightly bent and one straight pipe in the leather case. But Marzio came back and said that it might be too expensive for collectors as a pair with the case. And so I said, yeah, okay, so we'll do single pipes.
Not wishing to be rude, will the leather case add significantly to the overall cost for the buyer? Significantly. I mean, I accept it'll add some, but will it be significant?
It will. And
Right.
that's where we're still working on that. It depends on the cost. First, they're going to find out if he'll do it, then the cost, and then from there we'll extrapolate out if it's doable. If it's going to cost 80 euros per case, then it's not doable.
No.
Because that basically makes the pipe a single rind with the case would be $300. And that,
Well, that would be me out.
Yeah, it would a lot. So
It's still not horrible. I just picked this Lavat, this Radice up, which is probably similar to what.
yeah, take out the wood and imagine a silver band.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
phenomenal smoker. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
And if you were on the Briar Blues website, brand new, if you're an insider, it would have been $144 pipe.
So Mike, I have 2 standard questions for you. So what is your favorite pipe and of course your favorite tobacco, your all-day smoke?
The tobacco is easy. That's a Scudo.
Okay.
My favorite pipe in my collection,
Yamada.
is this Castello Shape 55 Fiammata. I bought this for my 60th birthday. That's my favorite pipe.
So what makes this with this shape so special? So I saw a couple of pipes with this shape. So what is so special on this?
They are smoking machines. The thick walls, the shank length to stem, it's just something about them. They, doesn't matter what type of tobacco, they smoke great. And it's actually one of the reasons that when I did the pipe of the year with Radice last year, I went to this author, which is got some of the same characteristics, thick walls, slight bend, the shank to end a bowl to stem is fairly balanced. And my two Radice pipes of the year rival that for smoking quality for me. And see, that's the thing, like what works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for anybody. It just works for me. Not everybody loves the way Castello smoke. I do.
How would you compare Castello Briar to Radice Briar in terms of smoking, either the flavor or the neutrality of it?
Castellos are more bright. Radices, after about 3 or 4 bowls, that brightness comes through. But it takes a little bit for the Radice to come through, and that's all age of the briar. Luigi, when I was there, told me that for them, briar must be aged 5 years before they work it. Castello, it's 10 years. And I think that 5-year crest or difference is what really makes it for the way they smoke. I'm not saying that briar must be aged 5 years before you can work it, but to Radice, it's 5 years. Castello, it's 10 years. Ardor, it's 10 years. But a briar supplier I know told me that briar should be aged a minimum of 2 years if it's left as the block. If it's drilled, tobacco chamber, and air passage, it can be worked in 6 months. I'm not a carver. I tried, I learned very quickly these are not skilled hands. So for that, you'd have to talk to an artisan. But that to me is the difference between Radice and Castello. The biggest difference though is the stem work. Radice is consistent all through, whereas Castello, 5 different hands, 5 different carvers, there's going to be differences.
Well, let me ask you about this one here.
Here we go.
Ooh, okay, so Castello Sea Rock with pie looks like about a 4K in size.
It is a quadruple K, yes.
Yes. Okay, retail, I believe, is with the pie probably about $495 US. Beautiful, beautiful pipe. Classic shape 50 or classic straight Castello Bulldog. Military mount, beautiful.
This is our king of the giveaways, but everybody's got an equal chance on this one. But we wanted to, include something that would be, a real, because we're giving these away just to remind everybody, or for those of you who haven't really heard about this, next week during our 1-year anniversary. So it's a celebration. We wanted to do something celebratory. And it really, this again is one of those brilliant ideas that Oliver came up with. Let's give away a bunch of pipes. And so that's how we came up with that.
Is the tobacco chamber on the Castello a reddish color or is it very white?
It is, let me see if I can
It's
shine
red.
a light on here.
That pipe is going to smoke. If you are a Virginia smoker, that pipe will blow your mind. Every Castello I've ever smoked that had that slightly reddish tinge to it, made Virginias sing. The brightness, the sweetness, the tanginess comes through like no other pipe. And it is that slightly red colored briar. It's just amazing.
Is that a combination of age and location where it's from?
Absolutely. When you walk into Castello factory, if you smell that pipe, David, you'll get a distinct fragrance.
It's like a sawmill.
That is the Castello factory, but it's the briar that smells like that. The whole Castello factory and office smells like that. When it hit me when I was there, I was stunned. I did not expect it.
Is there a special way to break it in, this pipe, this particular pipe?
Absolutely. I say you use the Briar Blues method. Choose your favorite tobacco, fill it to the rim, smoke it to the bottom, and just keep going.
So,
Mike,
go ahead.
can I just
Jürgen.
ask you, Mike, about Castello when it comes to them deciding to rusticate a pipe or leave it smooth? Do they, like many artisans, start off hoping that every pipe's going to be smooth, but only rusticate to save it? Or do
Correct.
some start off as with the intention of rusticating?
Depends where on the chain they decide it has to be rusticated. I mean, for yourself, if you were working on a pipe and you're at the French wheel and you're starting to do the shaping and you're seeing a lot of sand spots, you automatically know at a certain point that you only have to use the French wheel to maybe 220 grit because there's so many sand spots that you have to rusticate. Sometimes you're going to get to 600 or 700 grit, and then all of a sudden, all those sand spots start to come through, and then you have to make the decision. The same is true with Castello. They don't take blocks and say, okay, these are all rusticated. They're aiming for, as Yes would say, finding the perfect pipe in every block. So their goal is to make every pipe a fiammata.
So companies like Savinelli, and they're putting out a huge amount of rusticated pipes, are they actually doing away with lots of pipes which could be stunners?
No, because there are grading processes in the factory. Savinelli does it, Brevia does it, Stanwell used to do it. So first they're phrasing the blocks. Then they'll be looked at to see if there's fissures, flaws, sand spots.
Right.
If they get past that, they go to the next. Then they're shaped.
Okay.
Then they're reassessed and they go on. And as they're going through each stage, they're withdrawing those ones that cannot make it to the next stage.
That's good to hear. Okay.
So Mike, I have another question about the Castello. So I heard that the rustication of the Castello is made by hand. Is that true?
Correct. It's done with a multi-pronged tool, and Simon can explain, the same thing. It's a multi-pronged tool with a wooden handle, and it gets driven into the briar by hand, and they twist it with the wrist. I've tried it. You got to be a lot stronger than me to be able to rusticate. It's hard work. I mean, I couldn't do it with my shoulder right now. Not a chance.
It is very, very hard work, and it's why my razor finish got born, because it was just taking too much from me.
Yeah, it's hard on the wrists, hard on the shoulder.
Kind of like that, Mike. You can see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly the idea.
But the best part, if you make rustication with by hand rather than a Dremel tool, people can really recognize it. People who knows how to look at pipe, they'll recognize it and they'll pay for the effort. That's it.
Absolutely.
Mike, we have about half an hour left before I chase everybody out there. And I'd love to hear some of the stories that you got. And I know you've got some from the travels that you've done, visiting some different factories, meeting a bunch of the people in the pipe world, and the shows that you've been to. Let's just start with one and see what sticks out in your memory.
My trip to Italy, other than pipe shows, my trip to Italy was the most fun I've ever had in my life with all my clothes on. It was so much so that if not for COVID, I probably would have bought a home in Italy and moved. The people are so friendly, the carvers, just amazing. I got to spend almost 3 days with Marco Paragenzo from Regalino Valley, taken all over Rome, eating great food, taken to Fincato, pen shops. Then I went by train through Bologna to Modena, to Finale Emilia, visiting a friend, then to Pesaro, where I visited Maurizio Tombari at Linduvoli, spent a day in his shop. I went up to Cantu and spent a day with Castello, a whole day in the factory. And I had straight grain overload because I got to look through well over 1,000 Castello pipes, drawers and drawers of amazing straight grains, to the point where about halfway through, my eyes gave out on me. I couldn't tell one from another. Selected a bunch of pipes, had a great time with Franco and Marco. I was given free rein through the whole factory, photograph, ask questions. Nothing was hidden. I spent the next day with the Radice family. Same thing with Luigi. You can ask me anything. We have no secrets. And then spent a day in Milan, went to Noli's, met Luca, had a great time, and then home. Italy was so great that, like I say, I'm looking at, as soon as this COVID thing is gone, taking my girlfriend, going back for a month. If she loves it as much as me, relocating.
Wow. So will Briar Blues have a life after Vancouver?
If it does, it will be out of the estate market, and it will only be dealing with the Italian artisan carvers.
I have a quick question for you. I have a one of the fumed. It's a fumed Canadian, the Castello. I was reading somewhere that they said that finish was made for Wally Frank. I believe. Is there any truth to that?
Correct. The original Sea Rock finish were solid stains. Now, is your stand Sea Rock or is it stand Old Antiquary?
It's Old Antiquary.
And that was a marketing from Wally Frank. Castello was doing the fumed a little bit, but not prevalent. And they would come out of Sea Rocks. And Wally Frank, whoever their marketing guy, said, well, look, if you stamp it Old Antiquary, we can bump up the pricing and call it the next grade up. So that's how that initiated. The same thing happened. You'll find occasionally Castello Sandblast, which would be the Old Antiquary, stamped trademark. Those exceptional sandblasts were upgraded to the next grade level. But that was all brought in by the Wally Frank Holko Roar era.
Mike, hang on to that pipe, brother.
Yeah. And just something else for you. It is commonly thought that Castello started in 1947. Castello actually started in 1936. That is when Carlo Scotti actually initiated the Castello pipe brand and what came to follow. He used to work in Switzerland in the tobacco industry and then went back to Italy, and that's when Castello actually started.
Why do you think the Italian pipe culture is so strong in terms of their manufacturing?
Because they've got the Briar. Plus, the Italian way of life is so civil. It's much more laid back than ours. I'm sitting in Milan. I'm having lunch in an outdoor patio. It's full of people. I looked at the lady beside me and asked if she minded if I smoked. The answer was nessun problema, meaning no problem. And the only people who gave me dirty looks from me smoking in this area were the tourists. The Italians are just so laid back. We're not in your face. You don't bother me, I won't bother you. It just goes with the pipe smoking mentality.
Well, also art is huge part of overall Italian culture. It's in everything. It's in music. It's in visual art. It's even in food. Like before Italians came to England, people in England didn't know that food actually has taste. So, and I think it applies to pipes as well.
When I
Same
was
thing
in
happened
Italy,
to me, and when I went to Rome because my uncle used to live there. So you just drop on the plane, airport, you just take the Fumicino, and I was at the station waiting, and it's like an open space. And we had to wait for about an hour. So I light one of my pipes. 5 minutes later, as Mike said, a foreign person came and said, please, I don't want you to smoke here. And he was like miles away from me. And we were on the outside space. I was polite. I say, well, if I bother, I'll put it aside. But I was not bothered by an Italian.
yeah, when I went to Italy, my girlfriend was very concerned that I was going to gain weight. I ate some of the best food I've ever eaten in my life, and I came back weighing exactly the same. They don't shop like we do. They'll go grocery shopping maybe 2 or 3 times a week, pick up what's fresh, and they prepare it at home. They don't shop and buy a week's worth of frozen food or all this processed food. I went into a shop there, and all the shop sold was olive oil and racks of different grades and qualities of olive oil. I was fascinated. It's just an amazing lifestyle. You don't see people hustling around like you see in New York or Chicago or Vancouver. You know, nobody's in a rush to get something done. And a lot of Italians will complain that the government works that way, but in an overall lifestyle, it is very comforting.
I've never been, but everybody that I know that's been to Italy shares the same sentiment. I mean, they want to move there. They want to go back immediately. I mean, I've never met anybody that's gone to Italy and has not wanted to go back immediately.
Even Rome in the tourist area, there was no hustle bustle. I mean, a lot of people, but nobody, you know, pushing to get you on a subway or anything. It was just amazing.
So, Mike, what part of Italy attracts you?
I'm looking at Puglia, but somewhere where it stays warm all year round. If Como Lake, Cantu, did not have a winter similar to Vancouver's, in a heartbeat, I'd live in Cantu. I got into my hotel, my hotel room, get up in the morning, open my windows and look at the Swiss Alps over a lake. Just phenomenal. Beautiful countryside. Oh yeah.
So I just want to warn you one thing. So you talk about bringing your girlfriend with you to Italy. I've known a lot of people who went to Italy with their girlfriends on vacation and came home married to their girlfriends.
Oh, okay. Jean and I have been together since 2000. Well, we met in 2008, together since 2009. 2010, I asked her to marry me, and I was told not yet. So that would not bother me.
I was expecting you to plead the fifth on that one.
Oh, no.
Mike, she's wiser than I thought.
She's very wise. And why would she want to be with me, Simon? I'm a 3-time loser already at that game.
Mike's a hopeless romantic.
Absolutely. Which is why Italy just works so well.
Well, let's talk about the pipe shows. Because I think we could talk about your romance life for a while. Maybe we'll have to bring that up on your next visit to us.
That'll plead the fifth.
So you've been to a bunch of pipe shows.
Yes.
What's your favorite one to go to, and what are you looking forward to this year?
Vegas, 100%. I've been to LA, Tucson, Chicago, and Vegas. the absolute best pipe show as far as enjoyment was Las Vegas 2019. And one of the reasons is sitting up in the corner there. I got to hang out with Andrew and another YTPCer, Mel Harris, for basically the whole show. We ate together, we had breakfast, lunch, dinner, hanging out at the show. And we had never met, and we just knew each other through the YTPC. But we met at the show, and it was like we'd known each other since elementary school. It was just like old friends getting together. That was the best show.
They were like the three amigos.
Absolutely. And I got to meet other YTPCers, but those two guys and myself, we just hung out and hit it off just so well. And there's an age difference between all of us, but it wasn't there. We smoked different pipes, different tobaccos, didn't matter. It was just great fun.
Are you thinking about going to Chicago?
I don't think we Canadians will be vaccinated in time for Chicago. You guys have vaccinated more American citizens since Joe Biden has been elected than double the Canadian population. They're talking about my turn maybe in the fall. And I'm 65 plus with health issues. We are so far behind. I think we're the slowest country on earth for getting the vaccines to the public.
I think apparently you have to dress up like an old woman, and then you can.
You guys still have the fines in place, right? If you go to another person's household, you can get fined $1,500, or if you're out after curfew, correct?
No more curfews, but masks are mandatory everywhere. Not out in the street, but in every building. If there's more than 2 people in the car, you've got to be masked, and on and on. If you travel for leisure, when you come back, you have to quarantine for 14 days at a hotel. And if you're a non-married couple, you have to each have a separate room. I mean, they've just made it absolutely crazy. We haven't even vaccinated all our healthcare workers or people in retirement homes. They're not all done yet. First line workers aren't all done yet. I mean, we're so far behind the curve. Even I can't see the possibility of me being able to go to Chicago.
Well, I was talking to Ben, Unicorn Piper is obviously Canadian, and I think a lot of it has to stem from their fear of the healthcare system in your country wasn't great to begin with, and they're just so afraid of just completely overloading it and it just collapsing.
Well, that's easy for him to say. He's a government worker.
That's true.
So, assuming that vaccines become available to you in time for Las Vegas, or are you just like writing off 2021 entirely this year?
Oh no, I'm geared up for Vegas. There is going to be, if Vegas goes, and talking to Marty Pulvers yesterday and today, they're all geared up for it. They have a few things they're worried about, and I let him know that if the Vegas show goes, that there will be a contingency of YTPC members like he's never seen. I think there's at least 20 or 30 YTPC members that have basically committed to going to the Vegas show. 2019, they had over 3,000 people through the door. If it goes this year, I think they're going to double that number of people walkthroughs. So their concerns are getting people in through the front door, and having enough hotel rooms. But
so just a word to the guys in the Virtual Pipe Club. We're definitely going to have shirts by that time so we can find each other. But because I'm going to try to come to as many shows as my wife will let me. So definitely Las Vegas and probably Chicago if I can get my vaccine by that time. Yeah. I want to go back to some stories though. So Italy sounds amazing. Now we all want to go to Italy. what were some of the big memories you have from some of the shows of the past?
Oh boy. Well, I'll give you a bit of advice on Chicago first. Be prepared for straight grain overload. When you leave your hotel room, leave your wallet upstairs and only bring the amount of cash that you intend to spend when you go to the show floor. Or else you're going to bend that platinum card and snap it in half. Pipe shows are just so much fun. I've been sitting in lounges, talking to pipe carvers is great. I remember coming down at a Chicago show at 3 a.m. because I have trouble sleeping, and seeing a pipe carver who I love dearly named Peter Heeshen passed out in one of the chairs with a pipe in his mouth, sleeping. And the pipe fell out of his mouth, and while he was asleep, he caught it. Doing pipe shows with Peter Matzold, working a table with him and just pipe after pipe being sold. Getting to meet Jes Chonovich, Lars Everson, the Radices, getting to know Marty Pulvers much better. Just so many carvers that are in attendance that are just such great people. Chris Asterio is just a pistol. Paul Bonaquisti is another one. He's a typical New Yorker, but just so funny, just a very quick wit. Sitting with
I love Paul. I met him at K. Woody event a couple of times. Great guy.
Sitting at pipe shows, and you'll sit with a carver that's Italian, Danish, Russian, and German, and they're all conversing, and they're just switching languages like drinking water. They're so multilingual. It just blows my mind. Listening to them talk about designs that they've got in their mind and the intricacies of what they're doing and the techniques, it's an education that, you couldn't afford to pay for if it was offered at a university.
Do you go as a vendor at all, or did you just go for leisure?
I used to go and rent tables at shows and sell, but I hated being tied to a table. So now I go to hang out with friends, look at pipes, and just really enjoy the weekend or 4 days away. No, I don't like being tied to a table anymore. I'd rather enjoy.
Mike, hold on. Amir, hold on one second. And I'll come right back to you. I just want to say that we are getting close to that moment in the afternoon when I start to chase everybody out. We're not there yet, so don't go away. But I wanted to give everybody a last chance to ask Mike some questions. And that goes for the guys over there on Facebook and YouTube as well. Throw your questions in there. I'll pass it along to Mike. And then right at the end there, I'm going to tell you a little bit about next week. And it's a week that if everything else, you hit and miss our meetings, you don't want to miss next week at all. And Mike, I'm extending an invitation to you to come back and join us for the people who are coming as guest speakers and whatnot. It'd be wonderful to have you with us. But I'm going to throw it back to questions that everybody has. And Amir, I'm going to go right back to you, sir.
Yeah, Mike, were you talking about the late Peter Heeshen?
The which?
The one that you said was sleeping with a pipe in his mouth. Was that the late Peter Heeshen?
That is correct. The sweetest pipe maker that anybody can ever meet.
Yeah, I have one question. Did he ever tell you what material does he use to make his stems?
He uses ebonite and art amber.
Right, because I've worked on a few of his pipes. I couldn't find any other pipe that the material feels the same way. It just doesn't feel the same way. Even though we use ebonite, maybe he got it from somewhere else. I don't know.
It's very high quality German ebonite rod, the black. The one that's like multicolored That is called art amber. It's a special type of acrylic. Yeah, Peter Heeschen
Right.
is probably the most humble pipe maker that I ever got to meet. The first time I met him, I owned a few of his pipes, and I commented, I says, I love your pipes. I think you're one of the greatest pipe makers in the world. And he just smiled in his, nice little way and said, no, I'm just a little pipe maker. And that was Peter Heeschen. Always smiling, always friendly, just a great man, and sorely missed. And David, anytime you want me back, no problem.
That would be so awesome. I think we've only scratched the surface of having conversations with you. I'm really glad that you're here today.
Oh, I thank you. I thank you.
Gentlemen, let me throw it open there. Just go ahead and just turn your mics on and ask Mike a question. I just have one that I'm going to throw in from the YouTube group. And you don't have to be specific because I don't think you want anybody knocking on your door, but there's another guy here from BC who asks, what part of Vancouver are you in?
I'm actually in Langley. I'm an hour east of Vancouver.
I have a Castello question. Could you possibly date a C-Rock 75/P?
75?
Yes.
And it has a P on it?
Yeah, /P. Pencil shank.
Yeah. 75 is a shape. Has it got any Ks?
No.
No Ks?
Nope.
So pre-1969.
It's got a registration number on it.
Then pre-70s. Well, yeah, pre-69. Definitely earlier. Registration numbers, I think, ended in the mid-60s on some pipes, but probably earlier than that. Has it got a lucite stem or vulcanite?
Vulcanite.
Vulcanite, then that will make it in the late 40s, early 50s.
And it's a silver band as well. Original.
Is it original Castello silver band?
It's not a repair.
Okay, then that would definitely make it late 40s, early 50s.
Excellent.
Rare pipe. The white bar is probably ivory.
Yeah, it's a very long Canadian pencil shank.
Mm-hmm.
And a tall stack.
Yes.
Several hours worth.
Yeah. And just so you know, I'm not an expert on Castello. If I have a Castello question, I email Italy. And I do that often. I'm an expert on nothing.
Well, you still know more than most of us about Castello pipes.
It's all out there to be read and learned. Just have to know where to look.
Do they have the Castello pipe book in English? I've seen it for sale, but it seems to be in Italian.
No, it's in both. It's in Italian and English.
Is it?
You get Italian on one chapter. The next chapter is the same thing, but in English.
Oh, okay.
It is the most insightful book. If you want to understand the mindset of Franco Coppo and Carlo Scotti, the first 23 chapters, absolutely, you really get the heart and soul of the design and the passion that is Castello.
Awesome.
It is
they just,
an amazing book.
What is that book called?
They just started carrying it at smoking pipes too, so you don't have to buy it from Italy if you don't.
The only reason I hadn't picked it up yet is because I thought it was in Italian.
Yeah, no, it's I just got it from smoking pipes. It's fantastic.
La pipa mi figli, which means the pipe, my daughter. And that's the type of passion that they have for it. And some of the pictures will make you crazy. Oh yeah.
Well, Mike, I have a very important question for me. Can you tell me something about this pipe?
Yeah, it's a Castello apple. It's got the red.
Is it an apple or is it the shape 26? I have no clue.
That would be the Prince. It's a thick-walled Prince. What is the stamping on it? It's a trademark.
Yeah.
4K.
Yes.
Okay, and are the Ks in an oval or not?
No.
The uppercase K's, no oval?
Oh, it's in an oval. Oh, it's in an
Okay.
oval.
Okay, and is it stamped underneath Carlo Scotti or Kino?
That's a good question.
Little oval.
It says Scotty.
Okay, so it is between 1984 and 2007.
Really?
Yes.
I got this on Etsy for $300. I guess it was a great deal.
Yeah, a 4K trademark is probably over $500.
Yeah. Very nice. And it's unsmoked. Perfect. Love it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful pipe.
Yeah.
Oh, we have 4 keys pipes in our local tobacco shop for about $350
for the trademark.
4Ks Castello, the shapes 6, 7, 10, and some others.
Yeah, I only know the suggested retail in North America.
Mike, I'm RP Haran from India. I have a couple of questions. Which is the oldest pipe that has passed through your hands in all these years? And any one specific pipe which you still recollect for its aesthetics?
I think the oldest pipe, I've had a few antiques, so turn of the century, years ago. I've had a meerschaum in that was dated in the 1800s, but in bad shape. As silly as this sounds, I don't remember names, but I remember images. And I've seen pipes that I've sold, resold on eBay, and knowing it was a pipe that I'd sold. So there's too many pipes that I recall. As far as aesthetics, I've had a couple of Beau Nords that definitely knocked my socks off. A pair, a Lars and an Anna Everson, father and daughter matched pair in a case. That was something that definitely is memorable.
All right, I'm gonna start ringing the bell, which is something I hate to do because, as I say every week, this is like the highlight of my week. I love being with you guys, but I chase everybody out because after a couple hours, I know that some of you with families, you're gonna have wives or kids or something like going, come on, come back. And we want to make sure that you are able to come back again for the next meeting, especially next weekend. So let me just tell you a little bit about next weekend.
Thank you, Mike.
So next week is our 1-year anniversary. And I'm going to talk about this obviously next week when we open the meeting, but I never, ever in a wildest imagination thought that we would grow to the kind of group that we are right now. I thought it'd be like 4 or 5 guys and we'd sort of hang out together and that would be it. And now we have over 2,000 members in 91 countries and you know, Oliver's getting us articles in magazines. It's just really wonderful. And you guys are the best ever. We've had some fantastic guest speakers like Mike and many others. Now, next week, we're going to try to, you know, make it a party. We've got 2 guest speakers on the list there. The meeting itself will start an hour later. So something to, you know, mark your calendars. It's not going to be at the same time. It'll be 1 hour later. And I know that that is late for many of you who are in Europe, but we are also thinking about some of our members who are in Asia, and it's really early in the morning for them. So we wanted to push it just a little bit so that they could join us as well. At the top of the meeting, Per Jensen from Baron will be our guest speaker. Per's been on the meeting before, and everybody loves him, and he's going to talk about all kinds of things, and including Latakia rolls, which I want to find out the whole story behind that. At the second half of the show, we've got some of the guys from tobaccopipes.com who are sponsoring the celebration because they gave us a great deal on the pipes that we have for the raffle. Oliver, are we still selling any tickets for the raffle, or is that closed out?
No, it's closed down. So the deadline was on the 28th. So we are done. But I
Okay.
have one thing to say. We have a post in our announcement section, and it calls Ask Peer. So if someone would ask Peer some nice question, and he can answer it on our next meeting. So go ahead and pull your questions in.
We've Pear's been actually ghosting us on our Facebook page and reading the questions, so he's prepared already. But he asked if we could give him some prep on those questions. So if you've got something that you'd like to ask Per, go ahead and put it on our Facebook group. Also, without making too fine a point of it, the big part about the meeting next week will be the pipe giveaway. And just so that you can hear it first from here, how we're going to pick everybody, we're going to take a random number generator that we just push the button and hands off. We're not picking them personally to make sure that everybody knows that it's just really random. And that's how we're going to select the winners of the pipes. And that's about all I have to say about that.
Agreed.
Oliver, am I forgetting anything, sir?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
How do we know what number we have?
That's a good question. Oliver, how do we know?
I know.
I'm scared already.
That is awesome.
All right. Here's my last bit of words for this, and I say this every week. This is not a political statement. This is just because I care about you. Please do whatever it is that you do to stay safe. Wash your hands, wear your mask. It couldn't hurt you. And I want you to stay healthy so that you can come back next week and maybe see us at the pipe shows. That's all I got to say. Anyway, thank you guys very much. You're the best.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you,
Mike. Thank you very much for being a part of
Thanks,
this.
Mike.
Have a good week, everybody.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you, Mike.
Oliver.
Thanks, Michael.
Take care.
See you guys next week.
All right. Next week.
Thank you.
Thanks again, guys.
Thanks again, guys.
That was very influential.